everybody, welcome back to part 2 of the Q&A. Let's jump into it. Favorite 5 scene from season 2. I like different scenes for different reasons. That's always going to be a tricky question to answer, but I like doing scenes with Ellen because it sort of brings out a different side of 5. With the rest of his siblings, he can be quite a dominant force, but with Vanya, there's a delicate side of him, more vulnerable side. Basically, Vanya brings out 5's humanity a lot more than he would usually put on display, because 5 hasn't explored his humanity. He's been going from one thing to another non-stop since he was 13, all the while experiencing trauma, so he's never had time to figure out what he wants out of life, who he even is as a person. Whenever he gets a scene with Vanya, it puts his humanity in the forefront. Were there any lines you ad-libbed this season? Probably not. I mean, I'll throw in a word or a sound that's not necessarily written in the script just to add a human quality to it, so it's not so rigid. In episode 10, I ad-libbed some of the arguing with Diego, but the way it's edited, you won't be able to hear it, so essentially no. How long did it take to shoot the axe scene? Before I answer this question, it will contain spoilers, but I'm pretty sure you guys have seen the show by this point, so maybe 3 days? The reason for that is it's 3 parts anyways. It starts off with 5 walking through a hallway and attacking a vending machine and grabbing the axe. Then there's the moment when 5 goes insane and starts slaughtering the commission like he's Jack Nicholson in The Shining. And there's the aftermath of him chasing down and taking out Carmichael. It may have been 2 or 3 days to shoot because the hallway is a location. That's actually a real place that you have to drive out to in Toronto to go to. The room where he actually slaughters the commission is a set. I guess it was just easier. We were gonna tear it apart and get it all bloody, so it was just easier if it was a controlled environment. And then I guess the 3rd day was reshoots, the shot where it's looking at me. So yeah, 3 days. Took 3 days. 5 is such a complex character. His emotions tend to be pretty intense. Does constantly having to be tense, on edge, and mentally plotting his next move take a toll on you as a person? I don't know. I mean, as a person, it's just fun to play the character. As an actor, I suppose it's more work because you have to think about everything that's going on in his mind. And in the scene, there's what's written on the page, but there's also what's going on in the character's head. So there are these undertones and overtones of different things that he's thinking about, the different motives that he's not necessarily revealing. And most of that internal scheming can be found in the scenes between the handler and number 5. Because the handler is this sort of manipulative entity, and scheming is really her power. And 5 knows that about her and is very cautious of that. Those two are definitely looking to take from each other, and whenever they have an interaction, they both think they have the upper hand. And they know that the other one also thinks they have the upper hand. So there's a lot internally that is going on that you don't necessarily see written on the page that me and Kate have to sort of lean into. And so whenever I approach a scene with especially the handler, that's what I'm thinking about. When are you gonna release Without You? Sad face emoji. I'll give you some perspective. To create a song, it requires that I write it, produce it, engineer it, reproduce it based off of what the actual instruments sound like, then have it mixed, then mastered. And so there are many different layers of work that need to be done. And these songs are like my baby, so I'm very protective of them. I want to make sure that they sound the way they should sound, because once I release it, it's out there forever. I want to get it right. But Without You will be the next thing that I put out, so soon.